So I said I was going to edit in B-roll. I'm not editing in an hour B-roll. That's way too high effort for this. Uh, so yeah, kind of sucks. I'm just going to throw in some old Sonic recordings I have floating about in the background. So yeah. Hi, my neighbors are drilling crap in the wall or something, so you might hear that. Kind of cringe. Anyways, so after typing up a rough Sonic history, summary lore, in a Discord until 11 o'clock last night, I decided I needed to record this, and hopefully I'll be smart enough to edit in B-roll that I steal from people. Game 1 is Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis, released in 1999, like 2 years after the Genesis came out, by the way. Basically, we start in media res. We have this guy who looks like Teddy Roosevelt in his pajamas, also known as Ivo Robotnik. He's a doctor, but of like the evil kind, and also goes by Eggman. And his whole MO is capturing animals and putting them in robots to act as batteries for world domination. Now, apparently, I guess to, save the time of capturing animals, he's looking out for these things called Chaos Emeralds, right? The Chaos Emeralds are basically magic space rocks that have infinite power. But they make more infinite power quicker when they're together. So his arch nemesis, Sonic, a blue hedgehog who can move at least at supersonic speeds, and apparently has the personality of Santa Claus and Bill Clinton. He is going to stop Eggman by breaking the robots and collecting these magic rocks first. I'm gonna crack my neck here. Yeah, that's it. And if Eggman gets one, he wins. So you have to get all 6 of them. And then there's Sonic 8-bit. This is on the Genesis. I say Genesis, this is on the Game Gear and Master System. I don't know the plot, I assume it's about the same thing. Sonic Eraser, that's a downloadable game. That was basically a puzzle game. Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car? This is important. I guess Sonic is a cop or something, I don't know, it doesn't matter, it's a random ride. Sonic 2 8-bit. Now, I guess this maybe happens before the events of Sonic 2 on the Genesis, but Sonic's new friend Tails, a fox with 2 tails, and his actual name is Miles, Miles Prower, who gets bullied for having 2 tails but can fly by spinning them like a helicopter blade. He gets kidnapped and Sonic goes to save him. Now, apparently, the next main console game that actually happens after Sonic 1 is Sonic CD, going by the adventure mode or the story mode in Sonic Origins, where you go to Sonic 1, then Sonic CD, and then Sonic 2. And basically, the plot of Sonic 2 is there is this planet that shows up in the sky once a month. It's called Little Planet. It's close enough that you could probably fly a plane to it. It doesn't look like you leave the atmosphere. It's only in the sky for a month a year, right? And it's got these things called time stones, which I guess let you time travel or some bullcrap. I don't freaking know. I didn't read the manual, but the intro was made by Toei, so that was pretty cool. Now, Eggman obviously wants this. Also, he powers his robots with plants this time. And this was the sequel made by Sega of Japan. And there's a pink Sonic. Her name is Amy Rose, also known as Rosie the Rascal. She has a hammer. I don't think it's in this game, but she can do tarot readings. So Eggman, Ivo, uses a robot Sonic doppelganger to fight Sonic. Yeah, and kidnap her. I forget what the final boss of Sonic 1 is. It's probably a big robot. Now, after that, we jump to Sonic 2 on the Genesis as far as we're concerned. Basically, Sonic is now adventuring with his friend Miles. And there's a 7th Chaos Emerald. And when you get all 7 of them, you go Super Saiyan. Which is pretty cool. Also, you want to stop Eggman from getting, the Dragon Balls. So that's cool. Now also, basically his MO this game is, I'm going to make the Death Star. So you have to stop that. And during one of the levels, Tails flies Sonic's plane, the Tornado, to get him to the Death Star. And then we have Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. This was a random arcade game where you used a trackball. But Sonic and his friends Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel are kidnapped by Eggman and have to escape a tower. Now we have Sonic CD. Sonic Chaos, also known as Sonic and Tails on the Game Gear. It's called, Eggman's doing bad stuff again, we need to stop him. Excellent, that's that plot. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I consider this non-canon because it uses, I think it's the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog design on the box, and it's basically, it's just Puyo Puyo. Then we have Sonic Spinball, also possibly non-canon because I think the in-game sprite uses that TV show design. But basically, they need Sonic and Tails. Tails just flies the plane, maybe. He might not even be in the game. Sonic at least flies his plane and then jumps off of it, despite not being able to swim, because Sega thought hedgehogs couldn't swim, to whatever this freaking island fortress is that has pinball security. And apparently there are 16 Chaos Emeralds. Which, like, what the crap? Excuse me, I had to cough. I will maybe cut that out. Do I have water? I don't have water. I'm gonna come back and get some water. I'm back with my water. So that's that. Then there is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This is supposed to be half of a larger game that we ultimately know as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Now basically, like 20 minutes, maybe, I don't know if it's immediate or sometime after Sonic 2, Sonic still has the Chaos Emeralds. And there's a mysterious floating island in the sky known as Angel Island. And it fell out of the sky. So Sonic and Tails investigate, and Sonic jumps off of his plane, goes Super Saiyan, and then gets punched out of that by a red echidna named Knuckles. Turns out, sorry, I died again. Turns out that Knuckles has been tricked by Ivo into thinking Sonic is a bad guy. So basically, you run through Angel Island for a bit until you get to Launch Base Zone, which is basically like Eggman's Air Fortress before he puts Death Star 2 Electric Boogaloo into the air. This is not the Death Star, you know, the Death Egg. That's called the Death Egg, by the way, in canon. It's not the Death Egg Mark II, the Death Egg 2. There's a couple of different Death Eggs. This is just the same Death Egg again, so we're calling it that. That's not really important. You don't need to know that information. It's just a fun trivia fact. Right? Cool. So, apparently, in base Sonic 3, Knuckles dies after you fight him here, and there's a big robot called Big Arm that you fight. Who would have guessed, right? Now, this immediately happens. We need to cut to the events of Sonic and Knuckles, where, you know, we have our first minor timeline split, because Knuckles is still alive in Sonic and Knuckles. Also, you can now play as Knuckles. In Sonic 3, Tails learns how to fly. He could not fly under player control in Sonic 2, by the way. So now you have Knuckles. And he's still causing problems and working for Eggman, because he doesn't know that Eggman tricked him yet. Where was I? Yes. Basically, it ends with finding out that Eggman tricked him, and Sonic gets the Chaos Emeralds and goes to space to fight. Because I thought my phone was ringing. Basically, you keep doing that until... Basically, you keep running into Knuckles and Eggman doing crap until Knuckles realized, wait, Eggman lied to me. He is in fact a bad guy. Not cool. But Knuckles has had the crap beaten out of him, so he doesn't do anything right now. And that's okay. And then, Sonic, you know, presumably having all 7 of the Chaos Emeralds. Also, Knuckles is in charge of guarding a bigger emerald called the Master Emerald. Not really important yet, but Eggman wants to use it to do crap. So anyways, you go to the space as Super Sonic, the term for Super Saiyan Sonic, by the way, in canon. And you stop Eggman's robots again, his super space robot Death Egg 2 thing again, alright? Also during Sonic 3, the Death Egg crashes into Angel Island, so that's how that works or some bullcrap, I don't freaking know. This is like 16-bit storytelling. I'm just going by what's important here. Anyways, now, I shit you not, Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles were split into 2 separate games because of a McDonald's Happy Meal deal, okay? To reach a deadline. Anyways, so the definitive way to play is one, you should do Sonic 3 and Knuckles complete. But also Origins basically does the most important crap of restoring a bunch of content and garbage, except for the fact it doesn't have the Michael Jackson music. Anyway, when you do it as Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you get a long continuous experience where Knuckles, who doesn't die, realizes that Eggman is cringe and beat him up. Except he doesn't actually beat up Eggman. He gets beat up by him or his robots or Sonic or something. Who freaking cares? Anyway, but it turns out you can use the Master Emerald to make the Chaos Emeralds the Super Emeralds, and you turn into Hyper Sonic and the other Hyper people of Knuckles and Tails, who Tails was Super originally. That's not really going into it, but basically you change colors and you can do cool stuff. And you still go into space. Tails doesn't have his own story, but Knuckles has a story that is basically implied to be after the events, where you chase down a robot, a Eggman robot that is causing problems. And basically there's, by the way, we're on our third robot Sonic. This is Mecha Sonic. He uses the Master Emerald to go super and fight Knuckles. Also, Sonic 2 had another robot Sonic that is not Metal Sonic. Very important to know. They get a storyline later on, but not right now. Not in the games, just in comic books. So now we jump forward to freaking Sonic Drift. I guess Eggman got a Bugatti and is bragging about it. So they race. And Sonic drives a car because Sonic likes competition. And it would be too easy if he just ran. And then we have Sonic's Game World. This is made for a baby console. I don't know what it's about. Tails and the Music Maker. Also, a baby game for babies. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, we went over that. Wacky World Creative Studio. Apparently on Genesis, don't know what it is. Sonic Triple Trouble. This uses the cartoons design, but I guess is canon. Basically, you're looking for Chaos Emeralds. Knuckles is still antagonistic for some reason, I guess. Why is he mad at me? Oh, he tricks Knuckles again into thinking that Sonic wants to take over the world using Chaos Emeralds, but I guess he doesn't care about the Master Emerald, so what the frick ever. Also, there's a new guy called Fang the Sniper. He is a Jerboa, despite the fact that they called him Knack the Weasel. Also, Metal Sonic is here doing something again for once. He's basically like a bounty hunter mercenary dude who has a cool car. He's also a bad guy. Mighty cringe. Where's my list of the 90s games? All right, Sonic Drift 2. Probably the story of Sonic Drift again. Now, we have Knuckles Chaotix. Also known as Chaotix in Japan. Basically, Knuckles finds some rock that looks like it has a bunch of power in it. And he doesn't want Eggman to get it. So he teams up with this detective agency, I guess, called as the Chaotix, that consists of Espio the Chameleon, who I guess is a ninja, Charmy Bee, who is a bee, and Vector the Crocodile, who was going to be in Sonic's band from the scrapped sound test of the first game. Also, Charmy is like 6 by the time we get to the modern era. I don't know how old he is in this game, because this game's canosity is dubious at best. Yeah, I don't know. They use the rubber band, they get stuff. If you stand still, Metal Sonic kills you. Nice. Tails Sky Patrol. Tails is flying around with the ring and he fights a witch. Not really relevant till they do the 30th anniversary game, comic, I mean. Tails Adventure. This is before Tails meets Sonic. It's, I don't know, a puzzle platformer or some bullcrap. I played it for like 5 minutes and don't know what's happening. Sonic Labyrinth, another Sonic Game Gear puzzle game. Sonic has slow shoes put on him, and he cannot move fast, except for Spin Dash. I don't remember what the point is, but I liked it for the 5 seconds I played. Sonic the Fighters, alright, we're in 3D now. This is possibly Espio's first canological appearance, by the way. But you also get a polar bear named Bark in this game, and you get a duck named Bean the Dynamite, who's apparently just a parody or an XP of another freaking Sega character from a game where there was ducks and dynamite. I don't freaking know. So that's Sonic the Fighters. This is like a 3D Sonic game for arcades where you fight, and this is why Sonic is in Wreck-It Ralph. Basically, there's 8 Chaos Emeralds now, and you need to get them to, I guess, go to space and fight Eggman. Cool. Sonic Schoolhouse, I don't freaking know, educational game, who cares? Sonic 3D Blast, aka also known as Flicky's Island. Quick rant here. This has two significant versions in the Genesis and the Saturn version, and the Saturn version never gets freaking re-released, despite the fact that like Spinball has its Game Gear and Genesis version, and both of those are released all the freaking time. Rant over. Basically, there's an island full of these birds known as Flickies, and Sonic has to help them to get Eggman away from their island. It is made in isometric 3D. It is after the events of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because Sonic and Knuckles are friends. Sonic Blast, I don't freaking know what's going on. Apparently a gem breaks into 5 pieces. Sonic R, racing game. Eggman makes some cool robots. We get Metal Sonic again. We get Tails Doll for creepypastas. We get Metal Knuckles. Excellent. Sonic Adventure. Now here is where we start getting a significant change in our timeline. But first, I'm going to toss into a couple of other games. We have Sonic Pocket Adventure, which I guess is just Eggman doing crap, and I understand to be a truncated version of the Genesis games. But now, before we jump to Sonic Adventure, we have Sonic Mania, Sonic 4, and Sonic Superstars. Sonic 4 episodes 1 and 2 apparently take place like shortly after Sonic CD, and there's episode Metal, which I don't freaking know. It's a freaking bullcrap. Eggman does some crap. Tails is back. He's trying to do something on Little Eggman, trying to do something on Little Planet, and I don't know, Metal Sonic is sent on a quest or some bullcrap. I don't freaking know. But then we have Sonic Mania, which is basically there's this cool rock known as the Phantom Ruby, and it causes super illusions, and it sends Sonic through a bunch of levels where most of them are remixed versions of older levels from the, Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles. And it's got a couple original levels. That's pretty cool. All right. And then we have Sonic Superstars, which happens sometime presumably after Mania, but before Adventure. Maybe. Because this is where things get a little crazy. Sonic Adventure was a soft reboot on the series. However, shortly before Sonic Adventure happens, the Sonic goes into the future, but outside of time, to meet his future self for the events of Sonic Generations that I'll go over later. And in that game, Sonic is from the past. Also, whenever Mania happens, this I think happens after Mania, relatively speaking. Oh, my bad. Mania happens after Sonic goes to the future and goes back. In Mania, Sonic goes to the future again, and then I'll get back to that. That's cool. And then in Superstars, it gets confusing because some stuff I'm going to go over basically implies that everything before Sonic Adventure is another dimension that just happens in the past, but it's not clear. They were like, dimensions could be just the past, which I guess isn't wrong, but what the crap are you saying? Getting some more water. Excellent, I know. Sonic Adventure is where you should probably actually, after kind of knowing the events of Sonic 3. Basically, so far, our story is, you need to know that we had a Death Egg. We had a Death Egg too. And that Sonic and Knuckles are now friends, but Knuckles has been tricked and is the protector, by the way, of the Master Emerald on Angel Island. That's basically what you need to know. Also, Tails is really smart and invents things. And Sonic is apparently homeless. So we go to Sonic Adventure, which takes place in a city full of humans, by the way, and a jungle where there's a expedition or something, and this flying airship called the, I don't freaking remember what it's called. The Egg Fortress? What is it? Ship in Adventure. What's it called? Oh, the Egg Carrier. It's basically a giant, aircraft carrier, but it can fly. Now, so the story of Sonic Adventure, a couple thousand years before, there's this tribe of people and by people I mean echidnas, who lived on Angel Island. And this story is kind of told all out of order because you have like 6 stories happening at once. Perspectives of different characters change what's going on, and you get a bunch of flashbacks. So basically, the plot of, I'm also flicking this stupid freaking piece of plastic on the floor. I should probably stop doing that, and hopefully it's not being picked up. Anyway, so Sonic Adventure, what you need to know is number 1, they added a virtual pet system for these things called Chao. This is important to the plot, and you need to remember this. They're basically cool. You give them animals. They copy how things look, and they are effectively biologically immortal as long as you take care of them. And they're cute, and everyone loves them. That's what you need to know. So that happens. Now, a couple thousand years before the events of the game, on Angel Island, there is this tribe of Native American or like Aztec coded echidnas known as the Echidna tribe. Also, apparently Knuckles was Jamaican before this, so who knows what's going on. Not that it matters. Yes, where was I? Yes, so the guy in charge of the Echidna tribe, his name starts with a P. I don't know how to say it, but he's in the Knuckles TV show. He has a daughter named Tikal, and his mom is dead. I believe because her grandma is referred to as if she is dead and in the past. So basically this guy, he likes war and fighting, and he wants power for world domination or some bullcrap. Maybe not world, but he wants power. So nearby they have this shrine of the Master Emerald, and it's got these, the Chaos Emeralds, and they chill because the Master Emerald can control the Chaos Emeralds or whatever, who cares? Now, the Chao creatures, they live around this shrine, and they are protected by what, outside media tells us is a bigger, mutated Chao that you can make your Chao look like if you get them to be immortal, on one of your paths to immortality for them. And his name is Chaos. Its name, I think Chao are gender neutral, it doesn't matter, or they're hermaphroditic. Anyways, its name is Chaos. I'm pretty sure it's referred to by male, so we're going to call him a he. So we have Chaos. He's basically a giant water monster, and he's called a god of destruction because the leader of the Echidna tribe was like, I want this emerald, and I'm going to beat up these little critters that live around here so I can get to it, because I want power. Also, the Chaos Emeralds are not contained inside the Master Emerald like they are in Sonic Movie 2, just so you know. They do diverge there, and I think they're both naturally occurring things. So yeah, where was that? Yeah, so anyways, that happens. Also, his daughter, named Tikal, named after a city in the real world, she doesn't like fighting, and she tries to stop her dad from, doing basically animal abuse. So yeah, and then that doesn't work. So Chaos destroys their entire civilization, I guess, except for whatever needed to happen so Knuckles could exist, because he's the last of his people. And yeah, also, well, yeah, so there's that. This is like the past. I'm still getting there. And then Tikal's spirit and Chaos are sealed inside the Master Emerald until the present day, which at the time was 1998. So we have Tails. He found a Chaos Emerald, is using it to fly a plane for power. He crashes, Sonic says hi, he goes, oh wow, let's go get these Chaos Emeralds, or whatever, because Eggman's like, oh, I got this guy, and if I feed him Chaos Emeralds, he's gonna like, well crap, we gotta get the freaking Chaos Emeralds first. Wow. They freaking suck at it. They get Chaos Emeralds and they get them stolen. You go, and then Eggman gets his giant, flying air carrier thing in the sky. And Sonic invades it, and then him and Tails get separated for a bit, and you get more flashbacks of the past and crap, and that happens. And then Tails' story is kind of lame. He's basically, I'm going to follow Sonic around until Eggman decides he's going to nuke a city, and then you have to stop him. That's that. And then there's Amy, who got redesigned for this game. Here's another thing where things change, right? So Amy in Sonic CD and and in the Genesis era is like 8. But from Adventure on, she's like 12. So whatever is going on there. But other events aren't like referred to, but they're kind of referred. I don't freaking, it gets real confusing. Doesn't matter that much. Right? So there's that. Basically, Amy found this bird. It was a Flicky. And it follows her around as being chased by a big robot until she fights it and lets the bird that is inside of it out. And that's her story. She becomes brave and can fight things. Except, you know, going by the events of Sonic Superstars, she was already fighting things. But that's what happens when you make a game like 20 years later. So, you know, that's just how it is. Yeah, and then we have Big the Cat. He's a cat. He has a friend named Froggy, who was a frog who ate Chaos's tail somehow, and is being possessed by Chaos. And Big just wants to find his friend, so he's fishing for a frog. Eventually, Chaos gets his tails back and just kind of spits out Froggy, and they go about doing whatever. And then there is E102 Gamma. He is an Eggman robot who gains sentience and basically goes, wow, Eggman is not a cool guy. He's pretty bad. I need to free my brethren, the critters, I guess, inside the robots by killing them. And that's his storyline. Also, there's like one of his brother robots who friggin' like has to kill him or something in the end. They both die and release another bird, another Flicky at the end. So that's cool. So we have like 4 birds going on right now, I think. And then what else do we got? Right, we have Knuckles' story. So, as I mentioned previously, Chaos and Tikal are sealed inside the Master Emerald, which breaks it. So Knuckles has to go, which also causes Angel Island to fall out of the sky. So you have to go around and collect all the parts so you can fix it and put the island back in the sky. And Knuckles gets freaking flashbacks, so that's cool. And that is basically Sonic Adventure. I forgot I have the last story. So after all of this happens, basically Chaos gets all the chaos, all 7 Chaos Emeralds by the end, and turns into a giant water dragon and floods the city, probably killing almost everyone there, until they realize through the power of friendship they can turn Sonic into Super Sonic to power the Chaos Emeralds. Basically, Chaos has been angry that all of his friends were killed thousands of years ago, and he's not happy. And Tikal says, oh, you need to seal him again. And Sonic's like, no, I gotta neutralize his anger. So they fight. Tikal, I guess, goes to heaven or something. Who knows? It's kind of implied she went to hell there. And Chaos just kind of chills afterward. He chills out and I guess is just kind of a cool guy who hides in the ruins of the city. So yeah. And then we have Sonic Shuffle, which is a game that happened and is basically an excuse to make a Mario Party. And then we have Sonic Adventure 2, a game I think about more than I think about the movie Phantom of the Paradise. I'm going to redo my Sonic Adventure 2 segment. So basically, 50 years before the events of Sonic Adventure 2, there's this thing called Project Shadow, which is a project to create an immortal life form so they can have immortality, right? 50 years before, it's worked on by this guy called Gerald Robotnik, Eggman's grandpa, and his granddaughter Maria is also there. So Eggman's cousin, right? She has some space disease. It's not really a space disease, some sort of disease where her immune system doesn't work. And Project Shadow is going to cure that too. However, that's all fine and dandy until the government shoots her. And she dies. However, before, she got shot and died, they were actually really close to getting a cure because they had created this immortal life form known as Shadow the Hedgehog. He's basically Sonic, but angry, and looks cool. He is immortal and apparently immune to disease, so that's pretty cool. He won't die until you kill him, which is not something most people can say. But yeah, so anyways, we're gonna get back to what happens after they shoot Maria. But right before they did that, Maria's like, please help the people of Earth and remember what's going on, right? Or whatever. So you can help people, give them a reason to be happy. And then she shoots him down to space. She shoots Shadow down to space, where he is put in suspended animation for 50 years. Jump forward to present Sonic Adventure 2 time, and I guess Bill Clinton is president this time. Doesn't really matter, except for he shows up, I guess. Eggman breaks into the facility where Shadow is, and Shadow says, hey, if you give me the Chaos Emeralds, I'll grant you a wish. And he's like, okay. So they go and they steal some Chaos Emeralds, and Sonic has the crime pinned on him by the government. And Sonic decides to get arrested and then break out of his helicopter. And then he gets arrested again and is on a prison island where they put Gerald, as we'll go over later. So he gets busted out. Tails, instead of just, being Sonic Game 2, is a mech shooter. Pretty cool. And Amy is there. She's just kind of there. So basically, Shadow, this is a two-parter story here. We got Hero Side, Dark Side. And Eggman and Shadow are just kind of out doing their crap to get their master, their Chaos Emeralds, right? And Knuckles is just kind of chilling around too. He's fighting with his bat named Rouge over the Master Emerald because she wants to steal it. She likes pretty rocks. And Eggman tries to steal it. And then Knuckles goes, screw this, and punches the emerald and breaks it because he's like, well, I can just fix it later. So him and Rouge just kind of collect emerald pieces for a while. Fine and dandy. At some point, Rouge is, she teams up with Shadow and Eggman. It's like, hey guys, I'm gonna help you, right? So the reason, also this happens in space, because you see, as mentioned earlier, there was a space colony arc where they were working on Project Shadow. They meet up there. And as we learn, the space colony arc also has a giant freaking laser. And it conveniently looks like Eggman's face. And at this point, they have a couple of emeralds, and they basically shoot freaking half the moon and go, hey guys, bring me the Chaos Emeralds, or I'm going to shoot it again. And Shadow is like, yeah, so with how many emeralds we have now, we can shoot this again in 24 hours, or if we have all of them, we can just shoot whenever we want. Pretty cool. So cutting back to Sonic, right? So we find out, wow, that's not cool. They just shot half the moon off. Mr. President, don't give in to these terrorist demands. We're gonna stop it. We find out Eggman defaced some, Egyptian ruins or something. The pyramid, I don't know if they're ruins, but he did that. Has a spaceship there. Sonic goes on the spaceship. The Master Emerald chunks get out. So, by the way, Knuckles had, right before, they just kind of stumbled into everyone. He's like, oh, hey guys, how's it going? So he's like, oh crap, I guess we gotta stop Eggman. But he's more concerned with the Emerald. So he has to go in space and collect those for 2 levels. Rouge has also been collecting emerald shards for the most part, except for one time, after teaming up with Shadow and Eggman, she has to collect 3 Chaos Emeralds in a level before the island explodes. Also, when Sonic and Shadow meet for the second time, they blow up the freaking island. Pretty cool. Poggers moment, right? Most cinematic gaming moment in cinematic gaming, right? Greatest game ever made. Blowing up islands, shooting lasers at the moon, space colony arcs, and I guess killing 12-year-olds or something, and shooting artificial life forms down to planet Earth, right? Really cool. Anyways, they find out this is happening. Tails makes a fake Chaos Emerald to stop them from using the space cannon again, and when they put it in, it breaks everything, right? That's his plan. Rouge almost dies. Knuckles saves her. She gives back the, the shards of the emerald she has, Master Emeralds, because she doesn't want them anymore. They smell. So that's cool. Also, we find out at this point, more or less, Shadow just wants to kill everyone. He is not happy that they killed Maria. Cool? Cool. Now, Sonic stops this cannon from being fired by putting in the fake Master Chaos Emerald. But right before this happened, Eggman shot him into freaking space. Pretty cool, right? We think Sonic's gonna die, except for this thing I forgot to mention earlier because I mentioned it in an earlier draft of this segment. You see, we find out that the Chaos Emeralds can do more than turn you in to freaking, they can do more instead of turning you into Super Saiyan. They can do things like teleport and freaking stop time. And with enough of them, you can even time travel. Really cool, right? So, Shadow has been doing this thing called Chaos Control where he teleports. So, Rouge almost died when they blew up the island, things like that. All fun dandy, he's teleporting around. We find out, apparently, Sonic can use the anti-Chaos Emerald to teleport. Pretty cool. Shadow is very impressed. And then they fight each other. That's pretty cool. Stop it. So, as I mentioned earlier, the government killed Maria. And this made Gerald lose it. He started going crazy, did writings on the wall of a madman, altered Shadow's memories to make him omnicidal. Good times. Good times. Also, fun fact, apparently Gerald had been studying some of the ruins on Angel Island. So we get some architecture there. Maybe the implication might be, if not intentional, that Shadow is stylized after Supersonic, because there's this mural that I didn't mention earlier that has Supersonic on it. Like twice. Really cool. Anyways, Amy still here, by the way. While this is going down, Amy basically gets Shadow to like not want to kill everyone. So you have to stop that from kind of happening, because the plan's like kind of already in motion at this point. So you get to the thing where the emeralds are stored. Turns out there's Shadow's older brother, a really big lizard named the Bio Lizard. That's his prototype. And clearly, way freaking bigger, is a reptile and has a life support system. So it's not doing a good job of being the ultimate life form, right? You fight it. And then it uses chaos control and merges itself to the front of the freaking space colony arc laser and is like, I'm going to crash this thing into the planet and kill everyone. I don't really know why. I guess Gerald probably also pre-programmed it to do that. And also, Gerald got put in front of a firing squad after he flipped his lid. And that's the cell where Sonic was earlier in the game, by the way. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And then they play Live and Learn, and then, Sonic and Shadow go super to stop the Bio-Lizard, now named the Final Hazard, from killing everything. Which, granted, was Shadow's original plan, but he changed his mind, so he's a good guy now, I guess. However, Shadow has trouble staying in his super form and falls to Earth and dies. Very sad. Also, he was only intended to appear in this game, and in earlier drafts looked way more like Sonic, missing, like, with blind in one eye and with a knife. He was, like, even more edgy Sonic than he is now. I probably am not showing the relevant cutscenes here, but that's okay. I hope I'm doing a very bad job of telling this story. Anyways, so I have a lot of ums I'm not also gonna cut out because I'm freaking lazy, and this is to be farted out as quick as possible. So, gotta get a sip-a-rooney of water there. We show up, right? And Eggman maybe considers not doing evil stuff anymore. This lasts for about 2 in, real world years, because they didn't make like a new Sonic game maybe, depending on when the advanced games happen. We'll get there in a second. But that doesn't happen. So we have Sonic Advance 1. Classic Eggman robot animal crap. Sonic, Amy, Knuckles, Tails go stop him. Good times. Sonic Advance 2. Eggman kidnaps most of Sonic's friend and this rabbit lady named Vanilla. And then Sonic and her kid Cream, who has a Chow, by the way. Chow are not important to the story of Sonic Adventure 2. Just so you know, but they're still there. Their game mode is there still. Pretty fun. Basically, they go save the day, and then we have Sonic Advance 3, which happens sometime later, where I believe it is between the events of Shadow the Hedgehog. Wait, no, I don't freaking know. No, yeah, Sonic Advance 3, I don't freaking know when that happens. But Sonic Advance 3 has to happen after the events of Sonic Battle and after Sonic Shadow the Hedgehog, okay? So, we'll get there in a sec. No, I'm doing it now. We're gonna do it now. Sonic Advance 3. I haven't gone over the other game's story yet, but we'll get there. Basically, Eggman blows up the Earth into like 7 chunks, so you have to use the power of teamwork to fix it. And this time you have Sonic and Amy and Knuckles and Tails and Cream, plus Cheese, that's her Chow by the way, are out to save the world. Classic Sonic, right? Cool. And also there's a robot I'm going to talk about later. Sonic Spinball Party. I don't freaking know. This is some pinball tournament thing. I played it for 2 seconds. So, after Sonic Adventure 2, we thought Shadow was dead. He shows up in the next game in Sonic Heroes because he was super popular. Now, Basically, Eggman is like, I'm gonna take over the world in 3 days, fight me. And Sonic and his friends, Tails and Knuckles, go, bet. And then Amy is like, well, where the crap has Sonic been? And Cream goes, wow, someone kidnapped my pet Chow's brother, Chocula. Also, Big the Cat is there again, and someone kidnapped Froggy. So those three go to stop that. Now, we reintroduce the Chaos. They are investigators now. Right? Pretty cool. They're private eyes, and they're hired by a mysterious client to do random crap. And then there's Team Dark, which consists of Bruce the Bat, Shadow the Hedgehog, found in a stasis tube with no memories, and a robot called E123 Omega. Is that his full name? Yes, that is his name. Omega is the last of the E-series of robots. We see Sonic Adventure and E102 Gamma and all of those, right? Cool. He's pissed that Eggman locked him in his cell with Shadow. So he decides, I want to stop trying to kill Bruce and Shadow long enough to kill Eggman. Pretty cool. That's that. They run around, they do crap, get to the end. Turns out it wasn't Eggman. It was Metal Sonic. He made a coup and is now Neo Metal Sonic and basically has Kirby powers and is copying everyone's ability and turns into a giant dragon until Sonic goes super. With Tails and Knuckles who have super skills instead of just being super cool. I already established they can freaking do that. And they fight Super Metal Sonic basically. Yeah, super cool. Awesome happened. Yeah. Also, turns out the mysterious client was Eggman the entire time, and he's not going to pay Team Chaotic. Mighty cringe Eggman, you have money. Robots are not cheap, especially in the 90s. So, we jump forward, Shadow the Hedgehog, right? So, aliens show up on this black comet, and there's, is it Black Doom? Shadow of Black Doom. There's a floating eye, octopus thing, whose larger body is basically safe, and he wants to take over planet Earth. And he goes, hey Shadow, I know you don't have your memories, but I'll answer them if you give me the Chaos Emeralds. And then we have like 10 different endings of this game. And Shadow uses gun and switch. Also very important note, this is the first Sonic game that uses the 4 kid voice actors. You know, notorious over-censored 4 kids. And Shadow swears, Knuckles swears, pretty sure Sonic swears. He also swore in Sonic X, but this is an anime we're not going to push right now. Or in this video. Super cool. I realize that the truth is just put off getting them to understand what the crap is happening in the Sonic games or ever playing them probably. Don't worry. I'll condense this at the end of the segment. So basically, as long as you know Sonic 2-3 story, Sonic 2-3 and Knuckles story, you're good. Know what happened in Adventure. Know what happened in Adventure 2. Heroes, we're doing that right now, right? We just finished it. Yeah, Shadow has no memory in Heroes. Shadow the Hedgehog, still no memory. Working for an alien, depending on if that's the route you want to take, because you can be good, or you can be evil, or you can be neutral. You got 10 endings. Who knows what happens other than Shadow uses a gun? So basically, we find out Shadow was actually an alien the whole time. If you remember properly, oh my gosh, I forgot. In Sonic Heroes, there's a bunch of Shadow androids that you never fight. They're just at the end, so maybe Shadow's a robot. Maybe, right? Turns out Shadow was also an alien, because this Black Doom guy is Shadow's other dad. He donated some blood so they could go from lizard, a big inefficient lizard, to small compact hedgehog immortal life form. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And basically this dude was like, hey Gerald, our comet's gonna come back in 50 years, and give us the Chaos Emeralds then. Turns out that Black Doom wants to use humanity as a food source. Mighty cringe. Not cool. Would not recommend. I do not stand him anymore. I've seen some real asinine shit right now. Sorry, had to get some more water. Still dying over here, you know. Anyway, so that happened, right? So at the end of like 10 different things, a couple of them are, one of these endings implies Shadow kills himself, and two of them he goes, I'm Shadow Android, and he kills Eggman. In one of them he just decides, F this, I'm taking over the world now, dude. You know, all sorts of stuff. I don't remember all of them because there's like 10 of them. And then you get to the true ending where we find out that Shadow, if you take long enough to do the final fight, is actually the real Shadow. And basically his memories kind of, I guess, click back together. And he's also no longer trying to kill everyone. Also, his memories were altered in Adventure 2. Anyways, he fights Double Doom. It's implied he kills his space dad. But he's back in Shadow Generations. That'll be coming out later this year. Cool. So we have that, right? Shadow the Hedgehog. Now after Shadow the Hedgehog, where he saves the world and uses the space colony arc to shoot the comet that the aliens live on and kill them, I guess, we're back to Sonic Game Boy Advance games. We have Sonic Battle. Basically, this is just like a fighting game where you run into this ancient robot that gets named Emerald, who's powered by Chaos Emeralds, and is basically a Kirby bot. He watches people fight and he learns how to do their thing. So it's a fighting game with RPG elements. Pretty cool. Story implications basically imply that this game takes place after Shadow because he remembers the events of Adventure 2. Omega, weirdly not here. Instead, we have another version of Gamma. He's Chaos Gamma, and he doesn't remember the events of Adventure. He's a totally different robot, just looks the same. So I guess he was made before. Whatever. So basically, you collect the emeralds. We find out that Emerald is a robot called a Gazoid, which is like the ultimate fighting killing machine. And he gets all the emeralds and he goes crazy, and I guess is about to kill everyone and goes on the Death Egg. And Sonic, I think, has to go super, maybe, and he destroys him. Very sad. We find out that Rouge, I think, owns a nightclub, and Chaos is there. You fight him a couple times. He's just kind of chilling and shows up whenever things are supposed to be like, ooh, bad things are happening. You don't get to play as him in the story, but he's kind of there. He's pretty cool. It's nice to see. Also, Amy is on her delusional arc and straight up hallucinates Sonic at one point, and it's kind of weird. Yeah. So, jumping forward, Eggman collects the scrapped Emerald robot and repurposes him into Gimroll, this robot helper in Sonic Advance 3, you know, after he's blown up the world once a little bit, but that gets fixed, so it's okay. At the end of this, Tails fixes Emerald to make him not Eggman loyal anymore, and he becomes Cream's like robot butler friend who lives at her house with her and her mom. Also, Vanilla is not in this game, and I think is only ever mentioned in like 2 other games again, but shows up in other stuff. Basically, any Sonic character I mentioned who's never mentioned again shows up in comics a lot. So yeah, there's that. Sonic Advance 3, Sonic X. This is a Leapster game. Don't care. Sonic Rush. Here's where we're getting to some more timeline shenanigans, right? Sonic Rush. So we have another dimension known as the Soul Dimension, and there's a purple cat from there who's not big. Her name is Blaze, and she's the princess of there, right? And there are these things called the Soul Emeralds, which are rectangles that are basically the Chaos Emeralds. And I guess the emeralds being in Sonic World is going to destroy them because they're being abused. And her bad guy is Eggman Nega, an alternate version of Eggman. And basically, they run around. Friggin' Blaze isn't good about having friends. She meets Cream. She learns how to open up to people and have friends. And she beats up Knuckles at some point, apparently. I don't remember that part, but I guess she did. You get the Chaos Emeralds and the Soul Emeralds. And then Sonic is there too. Sonic and Blaze fight at one point, but they get over it. They get better and make up and are friends now. So the 2 Eggmans team up together, and then they use the Chaos Emeralds to turn Sonic into Super Sonic and Blaze into Burning Blaze. She's the only person to have used the Soul Emerald, so we don't know if that's just like everyone gets fire powers or it just gives her more firepower. But that's what we know. And they fight the Eggmans, and they win. And here we're getting into self-contained timeline game. Oh, we have Sonic Riders, I forgot. We're gonna do Sonic Riders. This is a spin-off. It's basically Sonic with skateboards. There's these bird treasure hunters known as the Babylon Rogues. You have Jet, he's a hawk. You have Wave, a swallow, and what the crap was his name? Freaking, what's his face? The Albatross. What is the Albatross name? And Storm the Albatross. Basically, Eggman goes, hey guys, I'm holding a tournament. You need a Chaos Emerald to enter, and it's because he wants to use that to get into Babylon Garden in the sky to get the secret treasure there. Turns out the treasure is a freaking flying carpet. The first Extreme Gear, the name for the flying skateboards. Kind of lame at that point. There's a Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, which is basically we have zero gravity stuff, and it concludes with apparently the birds are part alien. Pretty cool. I've played it for 5 seconds because I didn't like how the Wii controls worked, and I put it on the Wii U, and I couldn't use a game controller. So, Sonic Free Riders. This happens around the time the Kinect. Basically, it's motion controlled. There's another tournament, and I guess that was the time that Metal Sonic decided to try to beat everyone again. He failed, and Shadow and Rouge are kind of a jerk and abandoned Omega for a little bit. Mighty cringe. Also, Metal Sonic made him look like a generic robot in those games. He can just shapeshift, I guess. Doesn't matter. Sonic 06, major timeline redo. Major timeline redo. Basically alternate continuity. Eggman looks super weird. Long story short, 200 years in the future, it freaking sucks. It sucks in the future, right? So this guy named Silver, Psychokinetic Hedgehog from the future, and Blaze the Cat, now from the future, and Pyrokinetic, and apparently bullied about it, are like, dang, we need to stop the world from going apocalypse mode. And we find out that the two things that cause that is there is the Iblis trigger. Iblis is basically half of a god and is like all the power of it. And then there's the other half of the god, Mephiles the Dark, who is like the brain. And when they combine, they turn into Solaris, a god of destruction or something. Anyways, so you have Sonic, he's just kind of screwing around. Oh, here's my friend Elise. They kiss at one point at the end of the game. They run around, they do crap, they get teleported to the future to find, oh crap, this is what the crap happened and it's not good. How the crap did this happen? Like, oh, this is how it happened. Yeah, basically it was, the Iblis trigger got triggered. We find out that, Elise, the princess, has, like, Iblis sealed inside of her, so if she cries, it releases him. Not cool. So basically, the brain of Iblis, as is followed by the Shadow story, is trying to make her cry. Super cool. He starts off, he gets sealed by Shadow in the past when they first meet. It is mad at him and looks like Shadow for a while until he turns into Crystal Guy with no feet for some reason. Pretty strange, and he doesn't have a mouth, but his mouth moves like he has a mouth. Kind of weird. Anyways, basically, Shadow is trying to stop Iblis, Mephiles the Dark, Memphis, Tennessee, from, making her cry by tracking him down and stopping him from doing stuff. And then Silver has been tricked to want to kill Sonic because he has been told he is the Iblis trigger. We get to the end of the game. Turns out Sonic is the Iblis trigger because he gets, freaking impaled, and that makes Elise cry. So the god got sealed in her like 10 years in the past. She didn't cry when her dad died, but she cried when a hedgehog got stabbed. He dies. Alternate continuity, blah, blah, blah. Omega goes, you know what? I need to get Chaos Emeralds instead of killing Eggman right now. You get the Emeralds, you revive Sonic, and you fight the combined Solaris guy with all three hedgehogs. Pretty cool. And then that game wipes itself out of continuity by dousing the flame that became Solaris. Pretty cool. Sonic Rivals, I don't freaking know. This immediately retcons Shadow's Silver's backstory to where he's just from the future. 200 years from the future, not post-apocalypse. Apparently he just shows up every time things are starting to go bad. Don't know how that works. Blaze is now still from an alternate dimension, but they know each other and are friends apparently. Sonic and the Secret Ring, storybook game. Sonic is sick. He reads basically 1001 Arabian Nights, and he gets sucked into that book. And a genie named Sahara, something like that, goes, "Hey, I'm the genie of the ring. I need your help." And this other eviler genie named Eraser Din stabs him with a fire arrow and says, "You'll die unless you do my bidding. I need you to collect the 7 world rings that hold this book world together so that I can rewrite them." And you do that. And then, basically you meet alternate book versions of every character who are just like Arabian Nights characters. Like, Eggman is some king, Tails is Alibaba, Knuckles is Sinbad. Big the Cat's there for some reason. No, don't know why. He just is. Just kind of chilling. Then Eraser Jin gets all of the world rings from Sonic and kills the lady genie that Sonic is friends with. Also, apparently she was working it with them the whole time. So he gets like 4 of the rings to transform partially. And then Sonic gets the sadness, anger, and I don't know, some other freaking negative emotion ring and turns into Darkspine Sonic and kills him. And apparently Sonic was Aladdin the whole time, and the book rewrites its title to Sonic and the Secret Rings from Aladdin and the whatever. Follow that up with Sonic and the Black Knight, basically Sonic Storybook 2. Sonic gets Caliburn, a sword that can talk, and I guess the genie lady is now Merlina, and the other characters are Knights of the Round Table. And Silver is there again in alternate world. Sonic kills a knight that I think was King Arthur or something. Turns out Merlina was doing something, and you have to fight her as Excalibur Sonic, and Sonic was King Arthur the whole time. These games are pretty self-contained except for the one time they get mentioned in Generations. Rush Adventure follow-up. I guess Eggman Nega is still alternate dimension, and I said Rouge, but Blaze is alternate dimension. Sonic and Tails go there. They need to get home. They wind up in her world. They need to go home. That's it. Sonic Rivals 2. I guess Eggman Nega is from the future now at some point. Zero Gravity, already talked about. Sonic Chronicles Dark Brotherhood. This is like 2 years after, I guess, the whole series or some bullcrap. It's not canon because of Ken Penders. Sonic Unleashed, also known as Sonic World Adventure. Basically, we mix the elements of Death Star and the world being broken up. So Eggman breaks everything again. He breaks the planet into a bunch of chunks to build Eggman Land because he likes cotton candy or something. I don't freaking know. He likes petroleum-based cotton candy. How long has this freaking been going on? It doesn't matter. Anyway, he does that. This mutates Sonic into Werewolf Sonic with stretchy arms, which is maybe actually a Chaos Sonic. I don't freaking know. But this releases Dark Gaia, basically a mysterious force that destroys Earth every millions of years, right? Breaks it open. And Sonic lands on this guy. He's like a flying chihuahua that kind of looks like Alex Kidd. Who doesn't know his name, has no memory, is named Chip. Also, in blowing up the planet, he broke the Chaos Emeralds. Eggman, that is. So you have to take the Chaos Emeralds to temples to fix them. Also, first appearance of Orbot. Basically, robot sidekick for Eggman that just kind of doesn't do anything. Pretty cool. So you run around, at night you turn into a werewolf, in the daytime you run fast. Yada yada yada, you uncorrupt things. Turns out that Chip was actually Light Gaia, the not evil counterpart that fights him and makes him and then, you know, fixes the Earth afterwards. It's like part of an endless cycle. So Sonic is basically friends with the planet's persona, his good persona, the angel, the angle, and the devil. He's friends with the angle. So we got to go to 2010. Sonic 4 Episode 1, Don't Care. Sonic Free, we already talked about it. Free Riders talked about. Sonic Colors. Eggman builds his intergalactic amusement park. Apparently in the DS version, Sonic's friends are theirs. Not really in this one. Long story short, Eggman somehow split one planet. He split one planet into like 6 of them or something. And these aliens known as Wisp that are color-based and have superpowers, are basically Mario power-ups, have hyper go-on energy, and he wants to utilize them to power stuff. Sonic frees them. You know, he helps out the Wisp, and then he outruns a black hole. Pretty cool. Sonic Generations. Hey guys, it's been 20 years of Sonic the Hedgehog. Alright, we're gonna see new remixes of these levels. We're going to have one that plays like the modern boost formula that we introduced 2 games ago. And then we're going to have Classic, where Sonic meets himself from the past. Really cool. And you have to unfreeze all of your friends who are stuck in basically outside of time space purgatory by fixing the levels, by running through them and restoring color for some reason. Don't know how that works, but it does. Pretty cool. So, you know, you get to race Metal Sonic, you get to fight Shadow and Silver, you get to fight a bunch of old bosses, lots of fun. You know, and there's the 3DS and the console version. And the 3DS version, they said, was going to be more based on the handheld games. And that turned out to be a lie, because the special stages are based off Sonic Heroes, a console game. And the levels are Green Hill Zone, Casino Night, Mushroom Hill Zone, all console levels, Emerald Coast and Radical Highway, which is a Shadow level, console level. And the last 2 levels were Water Palace. Holy crap, the only freaking, the only portable exclusive level in the entire freaking games. And there's Colors, which had a DS port, so it's based off the DS version. More levels in the console version, by the way. Doesn't really matter. Basically, it's do you remember the last 20 years levels. Also, Eggman found this cool primordial time being. This takes place like on Sonic's birthday, and Sonic meets his friends and himself from the past, right? Cool. Sonic 4 Pursuit, Don't Care, Sonic Lost World. Basically, there's like the Lost Hex, I don't know, some sort of floating sky islands with these things called Zeti. They control like electromagnetic waves. I guess they decided to introduce turning things into robots. And they were going to use that for world domination. They show up, yada, yada, yada. Tails almost gets roboticized. I don't freaking know. I don't remember this game. Basically, it introduces evil dudes. More evil dudes who can manipulate electronics, but I guess haven't tried to manipulate Omega, because they're not really in the same game. Then we have Sonic Boom, Shattered Crystal. These are, Sonic Boom is an alternate timeline designed for a TV show. Just kind of there. Watch the TV show, that's all that matters. Sonic Mania, already talked about Sonic Forces. As we mentioned, Sonic from the past shows up again, you know, second time. And Tails says he's from another dimension. Sonic Team Racing, another racing game, I guess an alien who looks like a raccoon. Tanuki says, hey, I want to have this tournament, and everyone thinks he's evil, but he's actually not. Also, the Whisper back in Sonic Lost World. They show up for the Colors levels of Generations, and they power the original, the character's weapons in Sonic Forces. The plot of Sonic Forces is, wow, Sonic got put in prison and Eggman basically took over the world. Now it's up to Sonic, an original character, to save the day. And this was the last game we had that was like main series for like 5 freaking years until Sonic Frontiers came out. And don't worry, we're almost at Sonic Ages. Oh, we have Sonic Ages, which is just Sonic Remake. I don't care. Sonic Colors Ultimate Remake, Speed Simulator, Roblox, Sonic Origins, re-release, Sonic Frontiers. All right, basically, something is calling Eggman to these islands. He sends his AI daughter, Sage, to check it out, and she's like telling everyone to leave. Knuckles gets trapped there. Turns out the islands are also computers. Amy and Tails get trapped there because they're checking it out, right? Eggman gets trapped there. Sonic isn't trapped there. Long story, there's like these giant robot things. We find out that these islands are being used to run a prison for this being thing called the End. This is also a spoiler, by the way. Basically, it's like some sort of Death God incarnate thing. Sonic beats it up at the end. But here's where we find out that, one, the Chaos Emeralds are magic space rocks. And apparently, I guess, like, the End had destroyed the world of these ancients. Basically, these aliens that look like Chaos, which they basically said that Shao are super mutated ancient aliens. So Chaos is really just like getting some genes reactivated. It's like putting scales on a chicken. So that's what happens. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, so the Chaos Emeralds are magic space rocks this game. And they're like, oh, well, we are going to go here because there's something happening with our magic space rocks and something on this planet, which is basically a, oh crap, the Master World's doing something to the Chaos Emeralds at this point. So yeah. And then Eggman fights Death God, and I said Eggman. His AI robot daughter helps. Helps Sonic win. I guess there's a timeline where Sonic just goes super. He goes super a lot in this game, or goes Super 2 or Super Cyber. And then there is Murder Sonic the Hedgehog point-and-click adventure that happens on Amy's birthday. Origins Plus, we added Amy in. Sonic Prime Dash, Sonic Speed, that's a Lego game. Superstars. Basically, Knack the Weasel was doing stuff. I said Knack the Weasel, the Jerboa, Fang the Sniper, freaking I didn't mention him. Does stuff, is blackmailing a lizard into helping him, along with Eggman. The lizard says, screw that, and then I guess a dragon shows up at the end. Sonic Dream Team, I don't know, there's a freaking sheep or something, and Cream is like back for the first time in 10 years. So that's basically it. I don't know how long this is.